On today's episode of Box2Box Podcast, the guys go through the weekend's games just gone, talk about it in depth about Fulham getting their first point, um, as well as that, talk about Spurs' title chances, Chelsea's lack of possible goals this year, the set Manchester United versus Brighton and the horror show for Man United, and also talk about Haaland's Premier League debut. We also look forward to the weekend's games coming up. So, onto the podcast we go. Hello, and welcome to the first proper episode of the Box2Box podcast for the 2022-23 Premier League football season. This will be a weekly podcast that myself and the other host Rez will be doing. Sometimes we'll have some special guests with us. Basically, just breaking down the weekend's games just gone and looking forward to the weekend coming up. As always, I'm joined by Reza. How's it going, buddy? You alright?
All right. Football
Good,
could be
good.
better though, right?
Well, I mean, yeah. Unfortunately, I was going to say we don't talk about it, but we kind of have to. So,
Yeah. Are you finding yourself? Just a question. Are you falling out of love with football?
I fell out of love with football about when did Fergie retire?
It's all good. It's all good. There's still some good football being played by other teams.
I think it's more painful in all honesty, when you see other teams.
Do you know what? It's the transfers and that. Obviously, we'll
Yeah,
probably
that's
touch on
that
United
side
a
of
fair
things.
bit.
Yeah,
It's the way the club's run and everything. I think it just does put a massive down on it. You look at Liverpool,
City,
and
Chelsea.
City in particular, and just we're run, just like well-oiled machine, and then
From
there's
top
us.
to bottom.
Yeah, then there's us, and just honestly, I obviously Avram Grazer was at the game on Sunday, wasn't he?
He was, yes.
Honestly, every time the camera panned to him, like, I could just feel my fucking blood boiling. It's the same feeling I had for Ed Woodward, right? I saw that mug, and I'm just like, fucking hell, I just want to give you a slap. But anyways,
it's gonna go too far at some point, because it's gonna start getting to the point where people are starting to throw death threats and stuff like that I did at Woodward, and it will come to that, because they're starting to sing songs about it, and they're starting, not that I condone it. I mean, and no matter how bad someone is,
exactly.
throw death
We never
threats,
condone that and violence as well. I know, so I could give him a slap, but it's a figure of speech.
No, I know what you mean. It wasn't me saying that.
It's completely frustrating. Yeah,
it was more just me saying that, like, it's coming to the point now where the fans are starting to turn on them even more and more. So they're starting to sing about fucking them, fuck them, kill them, stuff like this and that, which obviously is just gonna get worse the more they carry on with it. So anyway, we'll chat about United once we get to it. We've got a busy podcast to get through. Started off, season kicks off, Palace versus Arsenal. I'll let you take it away, buddy. Arsenal taking this one 2-0. What did you think of it?
Yeah, it wasn't. We said it a lot last year. It wasn't a 2-0. I think 2-0 flattered Arsenal somewhat.
Yes.
I think Arsenal obviously got off to a really good start.
Mm-hmm.
But Palace caused them serious problems, real problems.
A lot of problems.
Palace were actually quite impressive. I thought that it was interesting because a friend and colleague of mine, he's an Arsenal fan, and I will get him on the pod at some point. I said to him about Ben White. I was like, my God, Ben White is terrible. He was like, actually, he said, a lot of Arsenal fans felt that he dealt with Ben White quite well. It was almost split 50-50. I was like, everything I saw, Ben White was terrible, giving the ball away, and he was basically just generally shaky. And I get it. Wilfried Zaha is not an easy player to mark. I thought Zinchenko was poor as well for what it's worth on the other side. But they got the win. They were, like I say, they weren't good value for the win. I thought that Palace certainly deserved something from the game. I was really impressed with them. I thought they've started this season how they kind of left last season. They finished last season. I thought that it's never an easy place to go to, right? Sellers Park.
No, it's not.
Friday night, first game of the season. It's not an easy game at all. It's a very, 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 very tricky game. But Arsenal navigated it well, and I think that it shows a certain strength and character that we've perhaps not seen from Arsenal before.
Yep.
Will it last the season? We'll see.
Yeah, it's more just when we was doing we did a last week for anyone that hasn't listened to it yet. We did a preview of the season, how it's going, and when you were talking about Arsenal, it's sort of how I expected Arsenal to be, and I expect them to still be the same throughout the whole season. I don't expect it to really change much. Um, this game could have gone a different way, and much if Palace, we're talking if buts and maybes, which I never like to do, but a couple of Palace chances go in. You're talking at draw, maybe even a Palace win. Um, so I think when Edu said the other day that Arsenal need to make a few more signings, I can sort of see where he's coming from. Um,
Yeah,
because they clearly aren't quite the finished article, and I don't know how long they're actually going to give Arteta, because you think they gave him last year and they were like, okay, you're not the finished article yet, but they finished so close to the top four, they're probably looking at it now, going, well, you need to get top four this year. You've given
yeah. I
you
mean,
enough
it's
time.
and money as well, right? I
Yeah,
mean,
and a
they
lot of
spent a
money.
fair bit this summer.
Yeah,
I did ask my friend actually because obviously they've signed Zinchenko, but they've got Tierney, and I was
yeah.
like, how do the two fit in? But he thinks that Zinchenko has actually been bought to replace Xhaka, so he plays
Mhm.
basically on the left of the three.
Yeah,
So Tierney will play at left back, and then
Zinchenko
um,
plays like centre
Zinchenko will
midfielder,
play, yeah, left mid basically. Well, not left mid, but centre of
left centre, like
left of
what Pogba
centre.
did for
Yeah,
Juventus.
yeah, yeah. But obviously a more defensively
Yeah,
minded player than basically just a fucking free spin. Um,
yeah,
but yeah, but you're right. Listen, it could have gone another way. On another day, it goes another way, and Arsenal don't win that game. So we'll see. We'll see. There's obviously a long, long, long way to go yet. But I thought that from an Arsenal fan perspective, you're probably looking at that game thinking, last year we trip up there, so
yeah.
they're probably quite happy.
No, of course, and you're not going to learn too much about teams in the first game of the season. Like I say, it's a long old season, and there's still 37 games to go. So
Yeah,
anyway, right. So we move on from that game. That was the only one on the Friday. The first one on the Saturday, which is a shocker to be fair. Yeah, I didn't think Fulham were going to do this. Fulham versus Liverpool, um, 2-2 draw. Um, yeah, how did you see it?
brilliant game. Really impressed with Fulham. I thought that the way they came out and attacked Liverpool. I know it's first game of the season, right? I mean, we saw it with Brentford last year, right? When they beat Arsenal first game of the season. Um, kind of like the no fear. It's almost a free hit, right, for them.
Yeah,
But really, really impressed with them. I thought they were superb. Mitrovic was causing their defence so many issues.
no, there is. He was.
Literally, Robertson and Van Dijk just could not deal with him. Sorry, not Robertson, the Alexander Arnold. Sorry, he had Alexander Arnold inside out. Van Dijk was all over the place. It shows they can be got at, but in the end, their forward play is still superb. Liverpool. Salah was excellent, and I thought that Nunes was very good when he came on. His goal was really well taken as well. Um, but they can be got at,
Yeah,
Liverpool.
no,
I
they
think the
can.
midfield is quite weak. I don't think it's not a great midfield. But then what I did like about Liverpool was for the first goal, for Nunes' goal, the one touch passing. I love to see that,
Yeah,
and it was just so fluid. The way they transition from defence to attack is superb. And they're going to be obviously we spoke about it before. They're there or thereabouts. I still I didn't see anything on Saturday to change my mind to suggest that City are gonna. It's not going to be a 1 point gap. I don't feel this year, but Liverpool did look good going forwards, but they look like they defensively they could be got at.
yeah, no, you're not wrong there. Everything you said, I pretty much agree with. But I thought Fulham actually looked really good.
Yeah,
Mitrovic was very, very good, and it actually surprised me because there was a couple of people that were talking to me before the season started, and I thought Mitrovic was just going to continue off the way he left it. The
yeah.
year
Well,
before,
he had a shot before, and like obviously a lot of people thought that he'd do well, and he was bad.
very bad.
Um, will he again? It's one of the same as Arsenal, right? Like, will this continue for the rest of the season? Obviously, time will tell. We've seen this before, though, right? Timu Puki prime example a few seasons ago when Norwich first came back to the Premier League. Everyone's like, oh bloody hell, Timu Puki. If you had him in your dream team, you were laughing, and then he just literally just fell off a cliff, and that was it. Basically, he was just him. So we'll see, but yeah, really really impressive start from Fulham.
Yeah,
Really good game to watch,
definitely.
fun, entertaining, exactly what you're after.
Beautiful. Right, that does the first. That does the first game of the early kickoff on the Saturday. The next game on the Saturday was Bournemouth versus Aston Villa. Bournemouth taking this 2-1, 2-0. Sorry, not 2-1. What did you think of this one?
I was shocked when I saw the result. Naturally, I thought that Bournemouth are one of my favourites to go down. In fact, they are probably my favourites to finish bottom of the league.
Yeah,
I don't think they've strengthened well, and I was extremely surprised because the team that Villa put out, like McGinn's playing, Ramsey, Coutinho, Ings, Luca Digne, obviously Martinez still in goal. Really, really strong side. Leon Bailey played as he started as well, didn't he?
yeah,
Really strong team, but obviously you look at the stats, and the stats tell a slightly different story. Villa had lots of shots, not many on target though, lots of possession. But no, really well played by Bournemouth. Again, it's a statement victory against a team that I quite fancied this year to do some really good stuff.
yeah.
And again, it's early doors, but I was somewhat shocked by this result.
No, I was shocked as well. Watching the game back, I do think that Villa will be a lot better once they get their signings sort of like settled down a bit. Um, Obviously Diego Carlos was playing. Leon Bailey just come back off a big injury. Um, Ramsey was playing. Ramsey's one of the new signings, isn't he? I'm making sure, just making right.
He is, yeah.
Yeah, and there are a couple of players that obviously that have not probably played together. They've only played probably for a few weeks. Probably showed a little bit to be fair against Bournemouth. And I think Villa once they get going will be quite good. But having said that, still fair play to Bournemouth getting the win and getting the job done. Really, you can't really say much better than getting a job done at home to Villa, winning on your first game of the season. It's always good for a newly promoted team.
Yeah.
Sound right. So I think there's not much else we can really say about the Bournemouth Villa game. We'll move on to the next one, which was Leeds versus Wolves. Leeds taking it 2-1. Go ahead, bud.
Quite an even game. Again, it was an entertaining game to watch. Quite end to end. Both teams had chances. Leeds were just a bit more clinical in the end. I think in terms of the personnel, I think they're fairly similar. I think obviously on paper I'd give Wolves a slight edge, but not hugely. I think going forwards with likes of Rodrigo and Bamford, I think Leeds will always be a threat. Obviously, losing Calvin Phillips and Rafinha, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna. I thought it was going to affect them, but no, it's a good win for them. Wolves. I mean, you said about Wolves potentially going down, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was one of the teams that I picked.
So obviously, the moment I saw the result, I was like, shit. Maybe, who knows? But again, long season. But I thought it was an entertaining game, quite end to end. Both teams are quite open though. I think I'd see both teams having quite a few goals scored against them in the end.
Yeah, I mean, Wolves have just signed that left back from Valencia, Portuguese left back. Of course, it's Portuguese. It's Wolves. But they signed him to try and shore up the defence. But I just worry. Connor Cody's now left them. They're talking about another couple of players leaving him. Neto possibly could be on his way out, and he's one of their top talents. Ruben Neves, we don't know, still don't know what's happening with that guy. With 100 million price tag, he probably will stay, but you still don't know whether the player's going to be pissed off that they put 100 million price tag on his head. Um, and
Eventually, I think.
Yeah, you know what I mean, when all the big boys are after you and they're putting that much of a ridiculous price tag on your head, you sort of look at it and go, well, why are you doing that? And they're obviously not going to pay 100 million for me because he's not worth 100 mil. So so I don't know how long until he starts to get pissed off and want demands out. Um, but yeah, I do worry for them a bit more than Leeds. Leeds, I thought once they got going, I thought it was like for them it seemed like a typical start of the season game for them. Once they got going, I thought they were a little bit better than Wolves and looked like they had the better chances. Is probably what I would say to go to extend the lead a bit more than just being 2-1. That's what I thought. Bamford had a beautiful header that if that had gone in, it would have been a great header, great goal. And they had a couple other chances that they probably could have put the game to bed and win 3-4-1. But didn't. But anyway, they still got the job done with a 2-1. Right,
Yeah,
move on to the next one, which is Newcastle versus Nottingham Forest. Forest's first game being back in the Premier League for a very, very long time. Newcastle took this one 2-0. Go ahead, buddy. How'd you see it?
yeah, it's a difficult game for Forest. Newcastle looked really good
Yeah,
actually, and the to be fair, I say actually, I mean obviously they looked good for large parts of last season as well. Um, Obviously Bruno midfield, Joe Linton was superb again. So Maximan causing problems all the time. Callum Wilson was good. Um, just yeah, overall, just a really really solid performance from Newcastle. Not I don't want to say unexpected because I think people are starting to appreciate Eddie Howe a lot more. I certainly am. I think he's done a superb job, actually.
yeah,
We did see a lot from Forest. I didn't feel they were very. They looked a little bit lost, lacking a little bit of quality. Felt particularly in the middle of the park.
yeah.
I mean, they have got Jay Lings.
Uh,
Obviously, he needs time to settle, but
but
now look, really good win for Newcastle and what could have been. We've seen obviously with Fulham how well Fulham did and Bournemouth. You can see how dangerous newly promoted teams can be on their first game of the season. But Newcastle dealt with them solidly and didn't look like they were going to be threatened at all.
yeah, no, I think yeah, Newcastle were very dominant in the game. Very, very dominant. Um, this could have been a very bad scoreline for Forest. But thankfully it was only for them it was only a 2-0. It could have been 5-6-7 quite easily. I didn't think Forest really offered that much going forward at all. Which I know they to be fair to Forest, they have got a lot of new signings and it probably will take him a couple of weeks, just maybe a month or so to hit the ground with a bit more force and get running and get up to speed. But when you're new boys in the Premier League, you need to get up to speed as quick as possible because you start going the whole of sort of August with no points. You get into September and you start playing one or two of the really big boys. So you play like Liverpool, Chelsea, Arsenal, City. You sort of get to play some of the boys that you know you're definitely not getting 3 points from. Maybe I'll take Arsenal at that.
That's it. What starts to set in,
Yeah,
right?
and then
And
it
then
sort of gets.
confidence drops, and it's just
You
everything
start
kind of
wondering
it
where points are
snowballs.
coming and where are you going to
Yeah,
score this game. So I think they need to get a statement win under their belt as soon as possible and get their new signings to start firing on all cylinders. But yeah, that covers the Newcastle game. So we'll move on to the last 3 o'clock kickoff on the Saturday was Spurs v Southampton. Spurs taking this one 4-1 in the end. Go ahead, how did you see it?
it's pretty dominant from Spurs in the end. Obviously, the Ward-Prowse goal was well taken,
Yep.
um, but I thought that Sessegnon and Kulusevski were particularly good in this game
Yes, very good.
for Spurs.
Yeah.
Son was good, but quite wasteful. I even thought Eric Dyer had a good game. So I don't know whether that says more about Spurs or more about Southampton. Um, Southampton were poor, and I think that. I mean, I said I fancy them to go down. On the back of this result, I do really fancy them to go down. I think they're just far too open at the back. They
Yeah.
concede far too many opportunities, far too many goals. I think that when they come up against the likes of Haaland, it's going to be a feast. After captain him, 'cause I've got the Premier League dream team as well. I've got three dream teams this year. I've got the Sun dream team, I've
It's
got
gone all
Premier
out.
League, and I've got the Telegraph,
Oh
and
yeah,
I've
I'm
got
with you.
Haaland and everybody one.
I've got them on
And
both of mine as
on
well,
the
to be fair.
Premier League one, I'll have to set him as captain for that game because I think it'll be a feast. But no, listen, Tottenham, you can only beat what's in front of you. And you look at Tottenham's bench, and obviously because their first 11's good, and then you look at their bench. Obviously, Perisic didn't start, Longley didn't start, Bissouma didn't start, and you're like, shit, they are good, and I think they're going to do well this season. Actually, Spurs, and obviously in Conte, they've got a manager who knows how to win.
Yeah, I
But
think.
I actually fancy them for a trophy potentially this season.
Yeah, I said that at one point I was thinking that possibility that they could challenge City more than Liverpool could, just given the fact of how much they strengthened their squad. Um, I think if they can get Harry Kane and Son firing on all cylinders as well, not that maybe their starting 11 might not be better than Liverpool's, which is probably not the case. No, Liverpool's is better, but I think their squad is better than Liverpool's.
Yeah, and I think with Basuma, that's a real good signing.
For 30 million, definitely.
It's it's so frustrating, mate. Like, honestly, as a United fan, seeing that kind of crap, um, it's just yeah. Anyways, we won't talk
Anyway,
about that. But
we've
yeah,
we've got
um,
another couple of games to cover before we get to the Premier League.
yeah. Good,
Um,
good win for Spurs. I thought that they made it look easy. Was it easy? Time will tell. But I think yeah, strong start, and I expect them to continue.
yeah. Right, Sam. I think that covers all the 3 o'clock kickoffs. I haven't really got much to add on that. I think you covered it off very well. And yeah, Southampton, I do worry a lot. Even though I don't think I picked them to go down in my
You
predictions,
didn't know.
but I do genuinely believe that you could be on. I think they could be. Um, if Fulham carry on the way that they played against Liverpool, if they can keep that up, I'd probably put Southampton that are going down, and Fulham might even clinch it as a last spot. Um, but yeah, only time will tell. So we'll move on to the
Imagine,
last. Gone.
imagine Southampton, Bournemouth, and Brighton bottom three.
Don't give me stuff for dreams.
South Coast.
Don't give me
South
dreams.
Coast. What would you call it?
South
I
Coast
don't
shit.
know. South Coast shit. Yeah.
So we'll move on to the last game on the Saturday. It was the late kickoff. Everton versus Chelsea. Chelsea taking this game 1-0 in the end from a Jorginho penalty. How did you see this one?
Boring. Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea didn't have a great preseason, right? And I don't know how much of this is kind of a hangover from everything that happened last season, but they've kind of just muddled through, kind of go through the motions in each game. Um, they don't play particularly outstanding stuff. Um, to be fair, I mean, when you look at the team, when you've got a central midfield partnership of Jorginho and Kante, um, they're not setting the world alight in terms of getting on the ball, running forward with the ball. They keep things ticking over. Don't get me wrong, and they're both very good players, but there's no. So you're relying heavily on Reece James and Chilwell to do stuff
Yeah,
to get it up, to have a Sterling amount. I just don't think the team's very well balanced at the moment. They're still searching for it. Listen, Koulibaly and Silva at the back, immense.
yeah,
But yeah, it was just quite a. I don't know. I found it personally quite a challenging game to watch in many ways. I did. I actually fancied Chelsea for a 3-0, and I was way wrong. Everton did reasonably well, and yeah, it was just. It was. You look at the scoreline, 1-0. It was a 1-0 game as well. If that makes sense.
yeah. I can see that. I what I've got, I genuinely believe that Chelsea are going to have this problem quite a lot this year if they don't sign a striker. Um, now Werner's now gone. Lukaku's obviously gone. They just seem to have this very bad luck of picking strikers that don't work out. And I think they're going to have a real problem to score goals this year. I mean, if you take the penalty out of it, it didn't really look like they were going to score at any point. I think
No,
Sterling had a good chance when Cucurella crossed the ball. And Sterling had a chance that was blocked, I believe, went just flying past the near post, blocked past the near post. But really, didn't really see him scoring other than that. And I think like they're relying, like you say, quite heavily on Reece James and Chilwell and probably Cucurella as well to do stuff for them. And I think they are going to struggle quite a bit. I can see why they're still trying to spend like 150 odd million or whatever it is on a number of players. I sit there and I see why, because they really need it.
didn't they've already spent 172, isn't it, or something like that
Yeah,
already?
yeah, and I can see him. I can see him probably getting Aubameyang. And
Well, apparently
possibility.
they want Orba and De Jong, don't they?
Yeah, I won't talk about that at the moment. I'm just praying that it doesn't
And
come to fruition.
but again, I mean, where does he fit in the team? Because if Tuchel is set on a back three, where does he fit? Because is he going to replace Mount as the third of the three?
Well,
Is he going to replace Kante or Jorginho?
in my eyes, every single day of the week and twice on a Sunday, he plays ahead of Mason Mount. But in Chelsea's eyes, they seem to believe Mason Mount is the saviour. Um,
Oh yeah, he's a second coming.
but yeah, no. So I don't know where you would play. I just hope and pray it won't happen, and I hope and pray like myself and you having a discussion on Sunday at the pub quiz that we go to, and just having a discussion about the young. I believe United must have something. You surely can't be that stupid to waste 3 months on someone. If you didn't think that he wasn't going to come, there must be something there. There must be. There has to be. I know we are. We if it was Ed Woodward, I probably would have said that. I'm trying to give the guy the benefit of the doubt because I don't really know him at the moment, and we don't really know what he's going to do. But if it was Ed Woodward, I genuinely would believe we're getting fleeced. But I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt and surely think that surely he hasn't just wasted 3 months on trying to get a player that doesn't want to come. I believe he wants to come. I think it's to do with this whole thing to do with the wages. The reason why he's not. So I'd like to think we would be able to sign him and make a reunion with what's his name, with Ten Hag and De Jong.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So back to the Chelsea game. Like I say, I think it's going to be a very difficult season for Chelsea if they can't get in some attacking players. I don't think Sterling does enough for them to see him scoring a lot of goals.
No, he'll score goals, and he probably, if nothing changes, he will end up their top goal scorer because he will score goals. Sterling.
Yeah,
He'll certainly score more than Havertz and Mount. But outside of Sterling, you do look and you're like, where would goals come from? Really, honestly, yeah. And then you're looking at like Reece James, maybe being when I look at this team and I think, okay, I'd fancy Sterling as top goal scorer. After that, I'll probably put Reece James as probably favourite to be second top goal scorer
yeah,
with the team the way it is currently. Um, how that can be, I don't know. Because obviously Pulisic doesn't seem to be fancied too much, although he did come on in this game. Ziyech wants to go. Where else are these goals going to come from? You're completely right, and I think Tuchel come out and said the other day, didn't he, about De Jong that midfield is not the priority, and you can absolutely see that it shouldn't be their priority. Does Aubameyang solve their problems? A fit and determined, hungry Aubameyang, probably. But how long does he stay like that for? We saw it at Arsenal,
he's getting on
right?
a bit now as well. To be fair, he's not going to be as
But
quick and rapid as he
he
was
is getting
before.
on, and he's already had this history. This is why it was so easy for Arsenal to get him from Dortmund, and no one else was interested, basically. was because of his attitude.
Yeah.
Um, do they want that? Would be the biggest question.
No, you're not wrong. You're
It
not wrong,
seemingly
mate.
they do, but and he will score goals for them. They're a team that will create chances, but if they don't get a striker, they don't get someone like Aubameyang, because it does need to be someone who's going to guarantee you 15 to 20 plus goals. Um, then I can see Chelsea really struggling this season. They'll they'll grind out a lot of results because I think defensively they are that good.
Yeah, no, definitely. That'll be the only way they do it though. They'll score and then they'll just sort of sit behind. I don't know, sit behind's the right word. Just yeah, like Jose Mourinho it basically. As soon as they go
Yeah,
1-0 up, they'll just rely on teams not being able to break them down. Um,
yeah, yeah.
but
I agree.
there we go. That covers the last game on Saturday. So there was 3 games on a Sunday. I will go to the first one that was alphabetically first, which is Leicester versus Brentford. Um, Game finished 2-2. Quite a good game. What it seems like from watching the highlights. What did you think of it?
Yeah, entertaining, right? I was shocked when I saw Leicester 2-0 up. I think both these teams will be in a similar position when it comes to the end of the season.
Yeah.
So I'm not that surprised that they cancelled one another out.
Mhm.
Um, I was somewhat surprised by Leicester. I thought they played quite well in patches. Um, the Dewsbury Hall goal, really good goal. And the De Silva goal was a really well taken goal as well. So, yeah, a couple of
Yeah,
good
no, it
goals in this
was
game.
definitely.
Two teams that they literally did cancel one another out. Obviously, from a Leicester perspective, anytime you're 2-0 up, you'd look at that and be like, we shouldn't have thrown that away. It looked like 3 points lost. Well,
Yes.
2 points lost, I should say. But well played to Brentford coming back and showed some real fight and character. And
Showed
like I
a
say, I think
lot of.
these two teams, will be around that kind of 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, that kind of area. So they will be
Of
battling
course.
for the rest of the season.
Yeah,
I
no,
think that
yeah.
we saw that.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean with that one. I did worry a bit for Brentford with Ericsson going and coming to us. I did worry for them a little bit, just because the fact I thought, are they going to be able to continue with the scoring the amount of goals that they do, sort of thing. Well, they did last year. With Ericsson was basically getting a 9 out of 10 for him for the last 3 months of the season. Every single game he'd get 9 out of 10, and they'd either win or draw the game because of that. Or even if they lost, they still give a good account of themselves. So I worried without him, are they going to do it? And Ivan Toney's still proving that he can score goals, and he had a chance to make it 3-2 as well. Or at the time it would have been 2-2, but um, 3-2 would have ended if he'd have scored that as well. But yeah, I thought it was very very good game of football, to be fair. And you're right, it is two teams that you think are going to end mid to low mid of the table, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah, sounds right. That covers that one. Right, we have to now move on to the inevitable. Um, the
yeah.
second 2 o'clock kickoff on the Sunday was United versus Brighton. Brighton obviously took this one 2-1. Do you want to?
No.
No. I don't want to. So should we move it? No, I'm joking.
Yeah,
It's a very difficult game to digest. I have watched it. I don't know why I did it to myself, but I did watch it back a couple of times, um, just to see. My honest take of the game, and this is not me being genuinely sour. I don't think Brighton were actually that good. Um, I thought they played against a very 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 poor Manchester United side. Um, that I don't know why I thought they were going to change, because first game of the season they lined up with Fred and McTominay, and as I said to my dad, you might as well have lined up with my niece and my nephew, 2 and 4, 2 and 5, so I say sorry, playing in centre midfield, because neither of them have got an absolute Scooby Doo how to play centre midfield. It's like they just pick 2 people out from the crowd and go, fancy playing centre mid today, because they haven't got an absolute clue. I didn't think United were were going to be as bad as what they genuinely were. But as Roy Keane said a lot of times, leopards don't change their spots, and there's a lot of that team that are uncoachable. Um, And I mean, United did have 4, 5 chances to score a goal, easy chances. Bruno missed a sitter. Rashford missed 2 sitters, easy 2 sitters. Um, Ronaldo had a couple of half chances. So realistically, should have scored a couple more. And in the second half, it looked like Brighton just completely took the foot off the gas and just like, oh fuck it, they ain't gonna score. So let's do what we want. Or whether Man United played a little bit better in the second half, but yeah, but I thought both teams were maybe more Brighton's to do with the fact that it was first game of the season after pre-season, and probably didn't play as well as they probably could have. But anyway, they still took the win 2-1, and that's genuinely how I saw the game. Couple of talking points in the game: penalty for Welbeck, like you said on the pub, and I do agree with you 100%. When you said if it's for United, I'd be arguing, and why is it not? And when it's against us, I'm like, why would you give a penalty for that? Um, and then similar to Scott McTominay's red card, I still can't quite understand why people are calling it to be a red card. But that's just my opinion on it. So I've said all that, mate. Go ahead, your go.
I obviously disagree. As we know, I said in the pub that I thought Brighton did well, but United looked good for the first 11, 12 minutes. But the first attack of the game, I think people forget, was Trossard on Dallo when he pressed him,
Yeah.
and you're like, shit, this is the same as last year. Too slow, too ponderous on the ball, particularly the defence. Not quite sure. And I don't know whether that's because McTominay and Fred don't show for the ball very well. So you end up in this situation where you're told not to boot it upfield, but your only option for a pass is going sideways or backwards. And so then all of a sudden you're like, oh, shit, now what do I do? I do think that the majority of our problems stem from having McTominay and Fred as the two. Why this hasn't been addressed, I don't know. Listen, I understand and appreciate that Frankie de Jong may well be Ten Hag's number one. Fuck me. There are literally probably about 2.5 billion players better than Fred and fucking McTominay on this
That's
planet.
an
I'm,
understatement
I'm
as
being
well.
deadly serious. Like, honestly, hand on heart, can anyone look at Fred and McTominay and go, good player? Yeah, we take them. There's not a single team in the Premier League, other than maybe the likes of Forest and Bournemouth, that would
Mm,
take either of those fuckers.
mm.
But the game wasn't just obviously them. Fernandez was really poor. As you said, he missed the sitter. He was terrible, in fact. His attitude needs adjusting. He needs to work harder. United did play much better second half. I don't think it's any surprise that it happened when Fred came off. Eriksen dropped deeper alongside McTominay.
Well, you sort of got a
Um,
little bit of a glimpse of an actual CDM or a centre midfielder that shows for the ball and can pass it.
yeah, exactly that. It's composed and knows what basically a central midfielder does. Why he played him as a false nine, I don't know. Because listen, Eriksen's many things. He's not a false nine. The guy's 30 years old and he's got a heart problem.
Should have played
Like
Bruno there, really. That's what I would have done.
Fernandez doesn't work hard enough, and I think that we're seeing now that Fernandez doesn't actually work very hard, and it's becoming a problem because I think that he was the focal point, obviously, before Ronaldo came along. Since Ronaldo's come along, you notice that actually Fernandez. I don't really understand what Fernandez does anymore. I'm going to give the ball away a hell of a lot. Try Hollywood passes all the time, little dinks over the defence and stuff that don't come off. So I think that United have a real problem. The only positives were the first, say, 11, 12 minutes. Sancho and Rashford got really high in behind Trossard and Gross, basically.
Yeah.
They pinned them and we were having some success and we looked quite good. We looked dynamic. Players were interchanging, players were pressing. As soon as Brighton scored the first goal, heads dropped, People stop trying. So Brighton's second goal. Don't know if you watched, because obviously I watched the game live and I watched it back on Match of the Day. I did some really good analysis on it because the second goal, Dallo presses all the way up, basically to Brighton's 18-yard box. Doesn't win the ball. What he then proceeds to do is jog back. Now Brighton on the counter, and he's jogging back towards goal. You
Yeah,
are the right.
you should be fucking
You are
sprinting back.
miles out of position, and they're attacking down your side of the pitch, and
Yeah,
you're jogging. McTominay does it all the time, mate. McTominay watches the game literally run past him. And I think there's a massive, massive problem with this United team. The attitude's all out of place. The only other positive, I thought Martinez looked very, very good on the ball. But I do worry about his stature as a Premier League defender. Anyways, on the flip side, Brighton, Caicedo, unbelievable. I thought they'd miss Basuma. I thought Brighton would be a lot weaker without Basuma and Cucurella. Now I was completely wrong. Welbeck as well, superb. All game. Caused so many issues for Maguire and Martinez. Really, really impressive. And then Gross was very good as well. And then obviously Sanchez made some good saves. I know that towards the end of the game he got a bit shaky. They made some excellent saves. See the one from Rashford, one and one in particular, superb save. And yeah, United had chances. United did have chances. You look at the stats, more of the ball, more shots on goal, more shots on target, better passing accuracy, fewer fouls. It was everything was pointed towards United. But you have to put your chances away. You talk about Chelsea and no striker. United are going to find this season because I think Ronaldo honestly wants out. You can see that.
yeah.
And it's a problem.
Yeah, the
But
problem is though, he's got to look at it and go, no one wants him.
yeah, that's his problem ultimately.
So
The
he's
club
got to
should
buck his
literally just
fucking
go to
ideas
him.
up. Look, no one wants
Well,
you.
I hope that the club have turned around to him and go, fine, go and find a club. Like, find someone who's willing to pay. Because apparently he's now asked the club to release him from his contract. And you're like, whoa, hang on a second, mate. You're under contract. We've paid for you. Go and find a club that are willing to pay and we'll let you go. Quite frankly, he can fuck off. I'm really angry. I know Army will be like, oh, he's a second class Ronaldo. Fuck off. Get him out. The there's major surgery still, but the problem is it's not just the team, as we've discussed, it's the club, mate. The club's rotten to the
Yeah,
core, and it really puts me off football. But anyways,
I
well
don't
played,
know how.
Brighton. Fair play to Brighton. They were superb and so organised. Everyone was so well drilled, work hard for one another, for themselves, for one another, for the manager. They listen to the manager. They've been well coached, well drilled. Superb. I can't take anything away from Brighton. As much as some of their fans drive me mad, they were very good.
Fair enough. That's, everyone has different views and different opinions. Um, yeah, no, yeah. So yeah, that pretty covers that. Just before we move on to the City game, I don't know if you saw the what I put in our group chat last night about the supposed takeover bid.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know how much truth there is.
it's not going to happen, mate. Not unless someone comes in with like a £4 billion bid. It's not going to happen because it's an absolute cash cow for the Glazers. They do not give a shit. All the time, the club is still making money, which it is. Eventually, it won't, though, right? But after how long, how bad does the rot have to set in before United stop making money? Because United are an absolute commercial juggernaut. The Glazers will not sell it. They want to. They just will not sell Man United football. They just won't.
I suppose I can sit here and hope and pray. Is all I do. I don't know what will take it. What will take them moving on. It needs to happen. It needs to happen very quickly. You can't affect change elsewhere in the club when they're still taking money out of it. The debts aren't going down whatsoever. They're not actually spending a penny. The only money that we've got to spend of what we've made for the year. They're not actually spending a penny.
It's not just this. It's like Who the fuck are all of these people that they keep employing? Who the fuck is Richard Arnold? Who the fuck is John Murto? Like, who are these people? Who, where have they worked
Yeah,
before?
no, I don't
What
know.
have they
That's the
done?
thing.
What have they achieved? They're all fucking mates. It's like literally, it's one of those fucking clubs. It's turned into one of those clubs where you get your mates in. Oh, yeah. Oh, my mate could do that job. Can he? Yeah, yeah. Get him in, get him in. It's literally turned into that. Is Darren fucking Fletcher still around?
I genuinely don't know the answer to that question. I
Fucking bet he
believe
is.
so. I believe so.
It's literally, it's rotten. It is absolutely rotten, and this is why like, I'm so tired of it that it's just I'm really really falling out of love with football. Um, I think he's still the technical director at Man United,
Yeah.
Darren Fletcher, technical director. What the fuck?
Yeah. I don't.
Anyways, I'm getting angry.
We'll
Let's
we'll
move
we'll
on.
finish we'll finish the rant about United now. We'll move on to unfortunately the side of Manchester that's performing very 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 well. Um,
They're fucking superb.
the last the last game of the week was West Ham versus Man City. Man City took this game 2-0 in a very dominant fashion. Um, I'll let you go ahead, mate. Go on.
City are great. Like I like watching them play football. Haaland looks a beast. De Bruyne was absolutely superb. Gundogan played really well. Um, they played a centre back pairing of Ake and Diaz, mate. Obviously Diaz is superb, but Nathan Ake, obviously Cancelo, the goat, was on the pitch, so that's probably why they won.
It's the only
But as a
reason they won.
game, yeah, as a game, I mean, you look at the stats. City only had 2 shots on target the whole game, but it doesn't really tell the whole story. I thought West Ham were quite good, though. Did think that West Ham looked threatening. I thought Antonio played quite well. Um, I thought that obviously Rice had that chance where, similar to Fernandez, right, in the
Yes.
Brighton game, very, very similar opportunity, and he did exactly the same thing as Fernandez. Skied it basically, got basically leaned back too far, foot under the ball, goes over the bar. Um, but City look a scary proposition because you look at that team that started, and then you look at their bench with the likes of Phillips. Um, Alvarez looks like a good buy. Bernardo Silva, Mahrez. Um, it's they're really scary positions. I can't see anyone laying a glove on them. I thought that it's a difficult place to go to, see the Olympic Stadium. Um, First game of the season, West Ham are always up for it, right? Their fans are fucking chomping at the bit to get some football back. They live for football. It would have been a really hostile environment, and City just turned up and just did not give a shit. I mean, they were booing Haaland, weren't they, before the penalty? Literally 0 fucks given, mate. That was a perfect penalty.
You don't give a
Just
fuck,
superb.
mate. You
And
can boo him all day long. You don't give a fuck. He'll put it in the bottom corner and
um,
then boo you back.
yeah, so yeah, really, really, really good performance from City. So West Ham can't be too disheartened because, like I say, I think they had some chances themselves and they did look threatening at times.
Yeah.
But yeah, City just
It may be
machine, mate,
if
absolute
that
machine.
game is in October or maybe September, and West Ham have had a few games under their belt. I think they might have at least scored. Um, rather than it being 2-0, I think it might have been 2-1 or possibly maybe. Nah, draw might be a bit much, but I reckon they could have given a bit more of an account towards goal. Um,
Yeah,
apart from the Declan Rice chance and I think a half chance for Antonio, don't really remember much chances from the game, or many more chances, should I say? But there we go. That covers this week's games. As always on the Box to Box podcast, we do a team of the week and a goal of the week. Um, Goal of the week, buddy. What was your goal of the week?
I had the Dewsbury Hole goal
Oh, okay.
as my goal of the week.
I had Haaland second.
Okay, yeah, yeah,
Just
it was a well worked goal, right?
well
Like
worked
it was a
goal, and
superb
then
pass.
yeah, and then I just think the Kevin De Bruyne to Haaland. I don't think you're going to hear the end of that this year. I think that's going to be the proper Kevin De Bruyne at Haaland goal. I think that's going to be said quite a lot of times this year.
Yeah, fair.
And I thought it was a very good taking goal. But there we go. That was the goal of the week. So team of the week, goalkeeper buddy.
So I've gone for Sanchez for his performance. I thought that he made some really good saves for Brighton.
Same.
On another day, does he? If he doesn't save them, is the game different? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? It's one of those, isn't it? You never know. But yeah, Sanchez, I thought played really well up until towards the end. I say he got a bit shaky as the game went on, but early doors when it's most important, he was good. He was solid.
Yeah, I got the same as yourself. The only problem is I had a conversation with my dad today, and we're talking about goalkeeper, and I said I can see Sanchez maybe getting one of the big boys coming in for him, and he said, yeah, that's brilliant. If they do, it'd be minimum of 80 million. I just sit there and I just think that this is what
Fucking
happened.
hell.
This is what happens as soon as Brighton win one game. It's then every player of theirs turns into 80, 90 million pound players, and I just sit there and I say, how are you not living in cuckoo land when you think a goalkeeper's going for 80 million? Especially Sanchez, like with all due respect, he's no Manuel Neuer or a prime David De Gea.
To be fair, Kepa did go for what 70 odd million.
Once again,
Uh,
Chelsea had their pants fleeced with that one. They had their pants fleeced with Cucurella for 62 million. You think sit there and go, how the hell have you paid 62 million for a fullback? But if Chelsea
yeah,
want to pay it, then Chelsea want to pay it. But I don't think Sanchez is worth 80. Um, very, very, very good goalkeeper. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's worth 80 million. I think my dad's just once again living in cuckoo land.
I don't
Um,
even think he's top five in the Prem.
I don't think so, no. But it's just it goes to say, without trying to dig too many Brighton fans, that the minute Brighton fans get a couple of wins on their belt, or they beat United or beat one of the big boys, it's Europe here we come. It's our players are worth ridiculous amounts of money, and I just think it just makes me laugh really. Anyway, we'll move on. Back four. Do you want me to
Go for it.
go? I had to get Cancelo in.
Yeah,
Saliba for Arsenal.
yeah, yeah. He did do
Um,
very well.
Shaw for is it Shaw? I think it's Shaw for Newcastle, scoring that
Yeah, his
that
goal was very
screamer.
good as well.
Yeah,
Really good goal. Yeah,
and I had to put him in Sessegnon for Tottenham. I thought he was unbelievable this week. So that's my back four.
yeah.
Go ahead, buddy.
Uh, so fairly similar. So I got Cancelo standard. I just put him in every week, mate. Just we may as well just.
He
I'll
was
just name
injured
10
last week,
players
Rez.
every week.
Yeah, Cancelo.
Yeah. um, I got Dyer and Saliba. Dyer for the goal in particular, but I thought he was actually played quite well.
Yeah,
And his goal was very well taken, really good header. Um, and then yeah, Sessegnon as well. He was superb, really good. Down that left hand side,
yeah.
um, played really well.
Fair enough. So midfield three then, buddy. What'd you go for?
So Caicedo,
Yeah,
De Bruyne,
yeah,
and Gross because he got the 2 goals for United against United. Thought
yeah.
he did well. He was in the right place at the right time. Late runs into the box. So yeah, those three.
Yeah, it's pretty similar. I went for Gross, KDB, and Rodrigo played attacking midfielder for Leeds. So I went Rodrigo. I thought he played very well for him.
Yeah,
That's my front three, and now we go for the front three. So the midfield three, now we go for the front three. Do you want me to go?
go for it. Yeah,
Kulusevski, had to, and then I had to get Mitrovic in somehow, and obviously Haaland for what he did as well. So I'm not picking a left wing. I didn't think there was that many wingers that really impressed me that much compared to what Haaland and Mitrovic did. So I had to get both of them in. So that was my front three. How about you?
it's exactly the same. Funnily enough, same. I was looking at it. And I was like, I don't know how I justify this.
Yeah, fuck. Tan's done it as well.
But I
Yes,
don't
I
have
can
to.
justify it.
The only other players I considered, I thought Son did play well, just a bit wasteful.
Yeah,
And Salah did have a good game. I thought that his running in behind was very good for Liverpool.
yeah,
So he was in the running, but it was difficult because I thought that Kulusevski was a real big part of what Spurs did
yeah,
well at the weekend. and obviously Mitrovic scoring 2 goals against
Liverpool.
one of the best teams in the world.
Yeah.
It's not to be sniffed at, so he had to be in. And then Haaland, a superb Premier League debut,
Yeah.
and yeah, really well taken second goal, so he had to be in as well.
All right, beautiful. That wraps up this week. Now for the last part of the podcast, we will look forward to the games coming up at the weekend. We've got Villa Everton. What did you see this one? What do you reckon's gonna happen?
0-0 ball draw.
0-0 ball draw. I think Villa are gonna take it 1-0. Arsenal Leicester. I would do it in alternative order. So I'll go this first. This one. So
Go for it.
I think it's gonna be 1-0. Yourself?
Funnily enough, I was going to go 1-1. Yeah, I think I'll go 1-1.
Yeah.
Brighton. Right.
Brighton Newcastle.
Wow, this is a good game. It's be interesting. Brighton's home form was terrible last year. I'm going to go 2-1 Newcastle.
7-0 Newcastle. No, I'm joking. Difficult one. I think I'm going to go 1-0 again. City versus Bournemouth. You got Haaland for captain this week. I'm genuinely going 5. I'm saying 5. I'm going 5-0. You might want to do it. Anyway, go ahead. What do you think?
4-0.
47-0. Okay, no worries, mate. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Southampton Leeds.
Yeah, this is 2-0 Leeds.
2-0 Leeds. Yeah, I think 2-1 Leeds. I think they're going to do it as well. Wolves versus Fulham. This is a difficult one. I reckon this might be another draw as well. I'm going to give it a 1-1 draw. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll go along with a 1-1.
Brentford versus Man United.
2-1 United. Just.
I'm going 2-1 Brentford.
Are you?
Yeah, I really am. Forest versus West Ham. I'm going to go 2-0 West Ham.
Fancy Forest to get their first goal, so I'm going to go 2-1.
2-1 West Ham, yeah. Problems?
Yep.
There's a really interesting one this week. 4 o'clock kickoff on the Sunday. First of the big boys playing each other. Got Chelsea Spurs.
Yeah, big one.
That should be a big one. What are you saying for this one?
I'm going to go 2-0 Spurs, mate.
2-0 Spurs. Ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. I think it's statement time.
Statement time for Spurs. I reckon it's going to be a 1-0. I reckon Chelsea are going to score earlier, but Spurs will get one towards the end. And then the last one on the Monday is Liverpool Palace.
Really hard game.
Really hard game. I still think Liverpool are going to do it with their. I think their fans are going to get this one home from. I reckon they're going to win 3-1.
I'll go 2-0 Liverpool.
2-0 Liverpool. No worries. Right, that does it for this week's episode of the Box2Box podcast. Thank you very much for listening to us. If you want to give us any feedback on it, please let us know in the comments box on our YouTube video. Anything you agree or disagree with what we say, and we can have a chat about it on the podcast or in the comment section. Please like and follow all our socials. If you'd like to be on the podcast, please reach out to us on any of our socials. We are going to start to have a lot more guests, so get on board with us and do this with us in the future. So thank you very much for listening, and we'll see you again soon.
See ya.